Hey guys, it's the Mama J, and today I'm really excited to share with you a tour of the reptile and fish room. Now I'm going to break it down into two separate videos. The first video I'm going to do today is on the reptile side of the room, and I've gone in depth a little bit more into each of the tanks, tried to share some fun facts with you about my animals, and I hope it's something that you really enjoy. So part two will be the fish room, and so be sure and stay tuned for that as well. But let's get started on those reptiles. Welcome to the reptile side of the room. On this side of the room I have 8 tanks. I have bearded dragon, 2 gargoyle geckos, a crested gecko, a Pac-Man frog, 2 leopard geckos, and a steprunner lizard. The first reptile I would like to introduce you to is Chomper. Chomper is my bearded dragon. Chomper is 4 years old, and I adopted him in May of 2017. Chomper is in a 40-gallon breeder tank. I do get him out every day, and we go outside on pretty days and let him run around in the grass, and also he gets some floor time or time with me each day. On top of his cage I have a 10.0 Reptile bulb in the reflector hood. In the spot lamp I have a 75-watt incandescent bulb that keeps his basking spot about 90 to 95 degrees, much hotter than that, and he seems to be uncomfortable. I have some rocks in the back there that I found at a local creek and was able to bring them home and clean them up and sterilize them, and I think they really make a nice addition to the tank. Kind of helps that background look a little bit 3D. But overall this guy is doing great, and I have greatly enjoyed having him in my life. This is Pixel. Pixel is my Pac-Man frog. I got Pixel as a little baby at one of the Repticon shows, and he is already growing by leaps and bounds. He's very much a trash compactor. Pretty much anything that you put in front of him he will eat. Now these little guys, they burrow during a good part of the day. In the evening he'll kind of hop out from under his hide and look for food. But he is really a fun little frog. Very little maintenance for his tank. Right now he's currently in a 5.5 because he still is a baby. I will be upgrading him to a 10-gallon tank when he gets a little bit bigger, which at the rate that he's going may be sooner than later. But Pixel is just absolutely a great addition to the reptile room. Next to Pixel we have Sophie. Sophie is one of my leopard geckos. And here she is hanging out on her hammock. Sophie is about 1.5 years old. I got her at one of the local pet stores here in town. And she is actually one of the first reptiles I have owned as an adult. She's in a 20-gallon long tank, and she has some reptile carpet, and on the warm side of her tank she has her little cave and a basic Tupperware container that I have some sphagnum moss in that I keep for her moist hide. On the cool side of the tank she's got some grapewood and of course a couple of artificial plants. And we call Sophie my princess because Sophie is the most finicky eater of any gecko. She loves to keep me guessing, and so my goal is to try to figure out what it is that she wants to eat that night, whether it be a dubia roach or mealworm or cricket. She is just really a funny girl, and her behavior always keeps me guessing. I sure enjoy Sophie, and she has been a great addition to the reptile room. Down here on the bottom shelf I have Cheerio. Cheerio is one of my smaller lizards. He is a step runner. Cheerio is only about 6 inches long, and he's really a great little lizard. One thing that is really neat about these little step runner lizards is they're really calm dispositions. They are diurnal. They are active during the day. He'll come out and look around and have some playtime in the tank, and then he'll go up on his rock and bask for a while. Another thing they like to do is to burrow down in the substrate and build tunnels. And a lot of times you'll just see him poking his little head up out of the substrate, which is really, really fun to see. Step runners are new, or more new, I guess you would say, in the pet trade. I'm starting to see more and more of them, which is really a neat thing. His tank requirements are not difficult. I do have him in a 10-gallon currently. You can house up to 3 step runners in a 20-gallon tank. They tend to like more space on floor space than they do height. Like I said, they do enjoy burrowing down in the substrate and having some good hiding spots. He eats mainly mealworms, but he'll eat crickets and roaches as well. And when you get him out, he'll sit in your hand really still. That's something that's very unusual for a little lizard. Usually little lizards are much more jumpy. And as you can tell, he's just a really laid-back kind of guy. This is one of my leopard geckos, Tango. Tango is an albino leopard gecko. I got him at the Chattanooga Reptile show when he was about 9 weeks old. He now is about 15 weeks old and has up to about, I'm thinking about 21 grams was the last time I weighed him, but he has grown tremendously and he's really doing great. He has some really beautiful bright yellow colorations coming out, and he just has an absolutely great disposition and always a smile on his face. The next animal I'd like to introduce you to is Echo. Echo is my crested gecko. I'm going to zoom in here so you can get a little peek of her before she takes off again. Echo's about a year old. I bought her from a local pet store here in town. She was probably a sub-adult when I bought her, but she's done really well for me. It took me a little while to tame her, but she's done great. She's grown and is eating really well. Her tank is a 18 by 18 by 24. It is a bioactive tank. It's one of the first bioactive tanks that I've built. I was a little bit frustrated at first just trying to figure out how to space and arrange the plants, but I think it's turned out okay. The longer I look at it, the more it's growing on me. It's got some cork bark, and the neat thing about that is I tried to use that as a little planter, and hoping that as the pothos grows in, it will sort of cascade down a little bit. I did go ahead and use one of my artificial plants up at the top just to give her some coverage to hide in up at the top. She's got her feeding ledge, and of course that's an artificial vine that's there, but it's a good thing for her to climb on. The tank is, the bioactive part has the false bottom, and it's layered with a mesh layer, and then I used an ABG mix, the coconut fiber, and it's topped with magnolia leaves. I also added springtails, and I hope to get some isopods ordered here and put in the tank really soon. But Echo is a great crested gecko. I sure have enjoyed her. The next tank I would like to show you is Skyland's tank. Skyland is one of my gargoyle geckos. I got her at the Knoxville Reptile show, and her breeder's name is Phantom Gecko. They are based out of Chattanooga, and they have just incredible quality animals. Skyland's tank is also one of my bioactive tanks. It is built very similar to Echo's tank, and the difference is that I used eco balls instead of the false bottom. The eco balls also are covered with the mesh layer, the ABG mix, eco earth, and then again topped with the magnolia leaves. have some pothos, and I believe those are types of philodendrons. I'm not positive. I'm still learning all of my plants on the bioactive tanks. I did use one of my artificial plants there at the top. Again, that's just to give her some extra coverage, but I think it's a nice addition, and okay to mix in some silk plants with the natural plants until your plants have a chance to grow in more. It kind of gives it a nice little tree appearance with the grape wood there. And Skyline has done really well for me. She's eating well and growing, and I really enjoy the gargoyle geckos. The last gecko tank I would like to show you is Snickers. Snickers is also a gargoyle gecko. I got him in Nashville back in July at the Reptile show there. Snickers was about 8 weeks old when I got him, and he's doing really well. He's gained several grams. He's eating well and very active. One really neat thing about Snickers is that he's really going to have some beautiful coloration as he becomes an adult. He actually has some red striping there. It may be hard to see from the camera. Depending on the lighting and whether or not he's fired up or fired down, you can tell just the contrast of colors that he's going to have. But he's really going to be a pretty boy as he matures. Now, I haven't converted Snickers tank over yet to the bioactive, but I think he has a very nice setup. He's in a smaller Zillow tank, and I have a twisted vine there and some artificial pothos. One thing I really liked about this tank when I bought it is it has a artificial bark background, and it really gives it a naturalistic look to it. He's got his little feeding ledge, and he is on some reptile carpet. And again, if you don't want to do the bioactive tank, I think you can do a really nice setup with some of the products that they have on the market now. It's easy to clean and easy to maintain. And Snickers is just a great little gecko. I've really enjoyed him. I look forward to seeing him grow and mature. I hope you've enjoyed the tour of the reptile room. If you saw an animal today that you would like me to do another video on and go a little bit more in depth about the care, be sure and leave me a comment down below. I love reading your all's comments, and I appreciate so much your support of me and watching the channel. I hope you have a great day, and be sure and stay tuned for that fish room tour video coming up next.